Rules for Radicals, Power Tactics, How to Create a Socialist State, 1971. Saul Alinsky, Levels of Control, 2013 and 1919. I'm going to read back several different versions of this. Hopefully I can fit them into the 15-minute video. Your task, should you actually give a darn, is to find out who's lying to you by misquoting somebody. Because there's a tenuous connection between them and some politician. Some of you already know where this is going. Control healthcare and you control the people. Increase the poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easier to control and will not fight back if you provide everything for them to live. Increase the debt to an unsustainable level. That way you're able to increase taxes and this will produce more poverty. Remove the ability to defend themselves from the government. That way you are able to create a police state. Guns. Take them away. Take control of every aspect of their lives, food, housing, and income, as welfare. Take control of what people read and listen to. Take control of what children learn in school. Remove the belief in God from the government and schools. Divide the people into wealthy and poor. Class warfare is good for you. This will cause more discontent, and it will be easier to take taxes from the wealthy and support the poor. Now, every one of you is nodding along, especially if you have this confirmation bias thing of being a persecuted group who is in fact running the United States. Yes, I'm throwing that in everybody's face. Yes, a specific religion does run this country. It's Christianity. If you don't like that, I don't give a damn. That's actually what's going on. But, you know, that's my opinion as a persecuted, not a mass or anything. I'm more of a persecuted. So anyway, let's go on to the next part. I'm just joking. Let's go on to the next part. None of that was ever written by Saul Alinsky. This list is a modern variation on a communist rules for revolution supposedly discovered by Allied forces in Dusseldorf, Germany in 1919. That doesn't mean it was discovered then. That's just the attribution that's given once in a while. It was not first printed in the United States in the Bartlesville, Oklahoma Examiner Enterprise as an anachronistic forgery strawman originally passed along with attribution. Or is it? You see, this is the problem with this. This is the kind of thing people want to find to confirm their worst fears or to justify their biases against one group or another. This could be any group, actually. I'm going to leave the listing in the description. I want you to read it and realize none of that's actually tenable. And I mean, literally, it wouldn't do what is being observed here. And throwing in remove belief in God from the government and the schools. The United States has an explicit rule of separation of church and state to protect both. Because you have to. You don't like that? If you actually don't like me saying that, you're un-American. That's why that would be... Well, why would someone stick that in there? And it was supposed to be 1919. And the wording and statements don't fit. Here's the other variation. Let's see how many variations we get. That was 8 points. Here we go. This is the 10 points of light here instead of the 1,000. Corrupt the young. Get them away from religion. Get them interested in sex. Make them superficial. Destroy their ruggedness. That's a very specific standpoint. Get control of all means of publicity. Get people's minds off their government by focusing their attention on athletics, sexy books, and other trivialities. Sexy books? Interesting wording. Might want to look up when these words actually happened. Why would someone post a bunch of rules, regulations, and ideas that include words from the wrong damn decade? Next. Divide the people into hostile groups by constantly harping on controversial matters of no importance. Okay, you got us there. Destroy the people's faith in their natural leaders. Natural leaders? By holding the latter up to contempt, ridicule, and obliquity. You might want to learn when that word went out of fashion. Natural leaders. This sounds interesting. Always preach true democracy, but seize power as fast and as ruthlessly as possible. Can you see where this particular one was probably attributed? By encouraging government extravagance, destroy its credit and produce fear of inflation with rising prices and general discontent. Now, I want to remind everybody about the hyperinflation that happened in Germany right before the Second World War and what was done about it within Germany. Think about this slowly, very slowly. Foment unnecessary strikes in vital industries. Yes, the unionization part. Here we go. Encourage civil disorders. Foster a lenient and soft attitude on the part of the government towards such disorders. By specious argument, love the wording, cause the breakdown of the old moral virtues, honesty, sobriety, continence. You might have to look that one up to figure out what they're talking about. Faith in the pledged word and ruggedness again. This is in the same set, by the way. Cause the registration of all firearms on some pretext with a view of confiscating them and leaving the populace helpless. Now, before anybody posts it, I've already done a video about this, and this is actually part of recorded history. No, Adolf Hitler did not reduce the number of guns that were available to the population at all. No, there was an anti-specific group thing. You can't claim on one hand that Barack Obama is just like Hitler because he's going to take your guns away like Hitler did, and then ignore the fact that Hitler did this specifically to Jewish people, because then you'd have to admit that there was a persecution of the Jews. And that's inconvenient if you're a neo-Nazi or just a denialist. Funny how everybody keeps doing that. Okay, here we go. No web page or book quoted Alinsky saying, control healthcare and you control the people before the year 2013. He died in 1972. So it's not related to how to create a social state, not socialist. Power Tactics, subsection, in his book, Rules for Radicals, which is a list devoted to tactics and methods for accomplishing any particular goal, but not any particular target, and not specifically for a particular goal in most cases. These are generalized rules. How to create a social state. You might want to look up what the word social means, not socialist. I'm going to read them. Let's see if you see some differences here. Remember, the above list didn't get attributed to him until long after he was dead, because, well, then he can't argue that you're lying about him. And these books are available, and you can read these pieces of them over and over again. Why are people misquoting this? Why do you let them get away with that? Seek out these. I'm actually not telling people to brigade here, but really, look up everybody that you like getting information from. If they've ever misquoted this stuff, and you point out that they misquoted it and they haven't got a retraction, or it's more than a year old and everybody else has done it like me, they're liars. This is part of a series on call them on their BS before you call me. Just saying. And if you were looking for confirmation on your belief that this is really Saul Alinsky's... Anyway, here's what he said. Now, this is, you can get angry at this, too. These are tactics. They could use them. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. If your organization is small, hide your number in the dark and raise a din, that means noise, that will make everyone think you have many more people than you do. See also people setting up duplicate accounts on YouTube and Google and wherever else they can, so that they look like they're a huge number of people when it's really 5 or 6 people in a basement somewhere. Never go outside the experience of your people. The result is confusion, fear, and retreat, and the collapse of communication. What that means is, if you're talking to a group of people about something they have no experience with, it's not going to work. Whenever possible, go outside the expertise of the enemy. Here, you want to cause confusion, fear, and retreat by doing it to them. Get them off of their topic they're good at. Or the joke is, write what you know, don't write what you wish you know. But anyway... Next, make the enemy live up to their own book of rules. You can kill them with this, for they can no more obey their own rules than the Christian church can live up to Christianity. Ooh, that stings. But no, seriously, this is the tactics set. You can read it. It'll be the third listing if I can get it crammed in here. Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. Here's where I get a problem with it. It's hard to counterattack ridicule, and it infuriates the opposition, which then reacts to your advantage. Let's repeat that. Ridiculing someone is hard to it's hard to counter an attack that's a ridiculing. It infuriates them, and they react to your advantage by flipping out and losing control. Also, this also takes them outside of their element in some cases. A good tactic is one that your people enjoy. For your people aren't having a ball doing it, there's something very wrong with the tactic. If you can't find something that they'll enjoy, even if it seems useless, really, then they're going to not want to do it. Next, a tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. See also 1970s. Hey man, this is a drag. Anyway, commitment may become ritualistic as people turn to other issues. Keep the pressure on with different tactics and actions, and utilize all events of the period for your purpose. Zeitgeist. The threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Always remember that something's persona or potential is more terrible than what it really is. This also is an example of making things seem more worse than they are. Really, look this up. The major premise for tactics is the development of operations that will maintain a constant pressure upon your opposition. It is the unceasing pressure that results in the reactions from your opposition that are essential for success of the campaign. Next one. If you push a negative hard and deep enough, it will break through into its counter side. This is based on the principle that every positive has a negative. I'm not exactly sure how to interpret that. The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. Avoid being trapped by an opponent or an interviewer who says, okay, what would you do? You're supposed to avoid that. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. Don't try to attack abstract corporations or bureaucracies. Identify a responsible individual. Ignore attempts to shift or spread blame. The real action is the enemy's reaction. The enemy, properly goaded and guided, is the reaction. In his reaction will be your major strength. Basically, troll the living crap out of people. Now, you can take these for whatever you like them for. I don't like tactics. I like reality and truth and facts, but you might want to read this. And you notice none of this is anything like what's being attributed to him. This is actually the 13 rules or 12 rules, depending on how you look at it. Many people fuse these together. All of the emails you've ever had saying anything like this and attribute it to him were faked. Acknowledge this to yourselves. Don't tell me about it. The fake strawman rules have to do with dividing people into hostile groups, encouraging government extravagance, fomenting unnecessary strikes in vital industries, and are designed to be passed around to cause precisely this, since this list suggests we have lost or will be losing a world without dissent, budget deficits, or inflation, and labor unrest. And all we have to do to revive this golden age that has never existed in time is fight all Democrats, Republicans, Communists, Atheists, Christians, Jews, Muslims, Catholics, etc. like a metavirus. What a great hack. That's my commentary there. The first set of rules that I just read, if you followed them, would cause everything in the list. Yeah, this was a trap. If you emailed these rules around and people were listening to it, they would then try them. They're self-destructive. The reason these things don't work is they always backfire. That's a list of things that always backfire, attributed to communists or liberals or whatever. That's its purpose. It's to trick you into shooting yourself in the foot. Now, I'm going to do either a separate video on it or just leave the comments below, but the inspiration for this came from someone's posting that I'm now addressing. I'm only addressing it now because I've got time and I'm not literally having a coughing fit. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day, good luck with that, and please don't take any wooden realities.